Yeah.
So welcome to Poor Magazine Zoom broadcast, Mama Earth Medicine for COVID-19. And I am the Black Crippled.
Yeah, and I'm the poverty scholar, that houseless mama, that houseless daughter, the proud daughter of a Boricua ghetto scholar, for without whom there would be no me. Ivaye, Mama D.
So if this is your first time visiting Poor Magazine, we are a poor people, indigenous people-led movement dedicated to build self-determination solutions to poverty, ableism, homelessness, and colonialization. For more information on any of our projects, go to poormagazine.org.
All right. Welcome, everybody. And yeah, this is going to be a beautiful and powerful night. Again, I'm Tiny. Myself and Leroy are one of many members of the liberated villages of Poor Magazine, Homefulness, and Decolonize Academy, all poor people-led solutions to homelessness, white supremacist education systems, and in this time, right now, in this moment of Mama Earth, basically changing and the shift in all of our minds, our consciousnesses to decolonization, we are also talking about a life without the armies, the paramilitary armies that are there to protect us, lives without police, which is something that we as poor and indigenous and houseless people actually live. We live a police-free life, and it's very, very complicated. It's not a utopic vision. It's a trauma-informed movement, but we cannot engage with the people who tested us and incarcerated us. And a reason I bring that up, other than the fact that that's what's on people's minds, as well as this pandemic called COVID-19, is the pandemic called poverty and police terror. And the reason I bring it up is that tonight's beautiful presentation is part of what we call HEALS, healing from addiction, alcohol, and all the man's poisons through art, liberation, and spirit, which is actually an integral part of what we call our Elephant Council, which is an elder and indigenous people-led movement to hold our traumatized bodies accountable to each other and never engage with these police military systems. So I bring that in to say that it's with our honor and blessing and love to recognize, how do we heal from this colonial virus, from this COVID-19, from this pandemic, not only of police terror and poverty, but of corona, without engaging with the same healthcare systems that oftentimes also kill us, experiment on us, and never are here to help poor people thrive. So it's a perfect example of this world's coming together. And so tonight's Mama Earth Medicine presentation is actually completely in alignment with our collective move off of these systems of abuse. And so again, we're blessed to have tonight a beautiful community healer, a revolutionary, Sockie Laya Smith, who was born and raised in the Philippines. She was a full-time activist for more than 15 years against the Marcos brutal dictatorship, before she immigrated to the United States. Sockie Lala is a community nurse in occupied Lenape territory, aka New York. She practices complementary alternative medicine. She's also a Reiki master and an intuitive healing facilitator. And she is 20 days COVID-19 survivor who did self-care at home to heal. We are also joined by a longtime Poor Magazine poverty and indigenous scholar, um, Pearl Ubungan, who is also a fourth generation Pinay, born and raised in Frisco, occupied Yalamu, San Francisco, Fillmore, and Richmond neighborhoods, working at the intersections of community, cultural, arts, and activism, and contemplative and somatic practices informed by critical theory and life, living in this occupied territory. So what's going to happen is we're going to start with a sitting meditation by beautiful, fierce Sister Pearl. And then Pearl is going to introduce Sockie. And Sockie's going to basically teach us, and she's going to teach practical as well as all of her ways, all of her beautiful medicine. I urge people to have some way to make notes. And then we'll see, depending on Pearl and Sockie's decision and leadership, whether or not there is going to be time for questions and answers maybe at the end. But this is where I'm going to basically step out and give it up to my badass P9 sisters and sisterin. So without further ado, let's bring in Pearl Ubungan.
Thank you, Tiny. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna rip a little bit off of what you said. I don't know if you even know you said this. You said something about the shift that's happening, and meditation oftentimes is there's a lot of effort around it and a lot of ideas and thinking around it. So that when people try meditation, they have a picture or an idea that is coming from their head. And really, what we need to do when we sit quietly is to come into our bodies. And you had mentioned the shift, and maybe we can just call this a way to ground the shift. So I just made that up. So grounding the shift will come through dropping into one's heart center. And actually, even lower, and from a composing or arranging the body perspective, you're actually coming into your sits bones, into the pelvis. So
Pearl, you're echoing. Pearl, you're echoing.
I don't know how to stop the echo. How is it now?
Don't go too far from the mic or something, from the computer.
Okay.
We can't hear some of your.
When you get close, you can hear you really well. Just so you know.
I'll stay close. So one key part is how you sort of arrange your body. It doesn't have to be this fancy lotus position with crossed legs. You can be sitting in a chair. But the key point is that you let the weight go into the sits bones and let gravity come down through you. So if you are in a chair, you probably want to be sitting forward, not back. You're definitely not going to lean back in that chair and use the back of the chair to support you. So the spine is free. You're sitting forward into the chair. So off the, kind of off the front edge of it. But the key thing is to feel your feet on the floor. In this instance, when you are sitting, you can liken it to standing, but the difference is that the gravity is, rather than travel down into the feet, is actually going to go through the pelvis, through that chair, and that's the descent that's happening. That's actually the technical, structural, energetic thing that's happening. It's coming down through your head, through the spine, through the pelvis, through that chair, like so. And key in allowing that to happen is to feel the heart center. If you can feel the sits bones, actually, like rock around side to side, front and back, and feel them touching that chair, and then allowing that, just kind of like letting yourself sink into that. If you want, I'm sitting in a way that I can actually cross my legs. But like I said, it's not a big fancy deal. You don't have to have like these really turned out hips and, this sort of idea about it. It's more like becoming quiet, settling in to the core of the body, coming into your heart. Because that word core, I actually don't like that word core. They use it in Pilates all the time. But the core, the root of that word is core or corazón, heart, not abs. So the core, you know, I'm talking about an inner core as opposed to an exercise core, right? So you're coming into your heart center, and you're softening into your heart center. And the notion also is that the environment around you, inner, outer, is soft, is gentle. And so this is kind of radical, because when we walk out into the street with our masks, right, all ready to be on the front lines or deal with your job or deal with the bus or deal with COVID and all of that, what we are is we're armored, and we're not that gentle. I know I am kind of fierce and ready to kind of, you know, meet the world in that way. So let's just let that aspect go. We're not running around outside right now. We're about to receive these amazing teachings from Sockie, who is in the epicenter of the pandemic. So she's coming from a place, you know, she's coming from that true place. And we want to prepare ourselves to be able to receive and to listen. So this is how we ground ourselves. And it's actually through the body, through the heart center, down in conjunction with gravity, coming down through the pelvis, through sits bones. So just, you know, you hang out with this idea and you try it over time. It's a process. So take a good seat, work with those ideas, and I'm going to ring the gong, and we're just going to sit for 2 minutes quietly. And interesting enough, the thing that we're keying in with is our breath. It's been a lot. The pandemic is a respiratory infection. And then there's, you know, on everyone's mind, right? The notion of I can breathe and I can't breathe. So we're touching in with the fact that we can breathe and touching the breath.
Pearl, we can't hear you.
So we're touching in with the breath. How's that?
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to hold this speaker up to me like a mic.
Now we
You're
can, but a while ago we could not figure what you're saying.
So you're coming into the heart center. You're finding a good seat, making contact with the sits bones to whatever surface you are on. If you're in a chair, you want to feel the feet on the floor. And I was just commenting that the key object of meditation in basic sitting practice is the breath. The pandemic makes it such that the breath is difficult. And we all have on our mind George Floyd. I can't breathe. So in this instance now, we're touching in with our own individual breath, and you want to feel the breath in the body.
Yeah.
So we'll just hang out here for another minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This also is an opportunity to just feel how you're feeling. I very often touch in with the fact that my heart is broken, you know, as I begin my sitting practice. And the instruction is to feel that, the tenderness of your own heart. Okay, so I'm supposed to introduce you, Sockie. Well, you heard the tremendous bio, right, everybody? What more can I add? Well, I was really fortunate to listen to Sockie teach a couple weeks ago from New York, and I was so impressed and so moved and inspired that I just was like bragging to Tiny about it, and right away thought you should teach and connect with Poor Magazine. You're our people for sure, and there are many elements of what you do that come together. So I think another aspect, if I may say, use this term again, grounding the shift. If a shift is happening, things are not in their usual place with respect to how we habitually relate with the rest of the world. So how do we ground ourselves? I think that what you are teaching, Sockie, is really a way to answer that conundrum. How do I ground myself through this time where we don't know what's going to happen, where things are moving quite quickly, and where the ground is shifting, and hopefully a paradigm shift is happening. I think that your work, your teachings, these alternatives to white medicine are key. So I guess all of this to say that Sockie is a very powerful teacher. She's a community nurse, so she works with folks that, you know, other nurses and hospitals don't get to relate with on a daily basis, and that is very powerful. And what else? She's a lot of, there's a lot of delight and joy also that I appreciate. Okay, take it away.
Okay,
Ready?
hi. Can everybody hear me? Yes?
I hear you, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure because Pearl, you were in and out. It was vibrating. So I wasn't, you know, I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. So just a brief disclaimer. I'm not an expert in any of the things I'm talking about, okay? I know a little bit, but no way am I an expert. Secondly, I'm not a healer. I don't heal people. So just to make sure that, you know, you got that I can assist in somebody's healing, but I am no way, even in any aspect, a healer. So we'll go straight to the things because there's so much to cover. Precepts, I need to start with the precepts before I even go to the methods I use, which is complementary, not so much Western medicine that I used when I did my, you know, when I tried to take care of myself for 20 days of COVID. The first precept that I really want to impart to everybody is that the body can heal itself. So the body has its innate wisdom that we tap into. And Western medicine or the white people's medicine don't say that. The second is that health is multi-layer. When, you know, in traditional, when you go to a traditional doctor, right, a licensed doctor here in the US, you are given some tests, they get your vital signs, they give you some x-rays, and then, you know, they consult with you whether they give you a clean bill of health. Because what does that mean? That the numbers show, the x-rays show that you are within, you know, your numbers are within the frame of normalcy. Well, we're in complementary medicine, we say that health is multidimensional. What you take for tests and vital signs are just physical health. So the mental, the spiritual, when we say the mind, body, and spirit and relationship are all part of being healthy, and this affects one another. So when we treat a person, or when somebody is having a sickness or disease, or in relation to the virus, I'm not just gonna talk about the virus or how to fight the virus. I will be talking about the whole person. So when we talk about health, it's what is related to health is your mind, body, spirit, and relationships. And I will be focusing on that. How all this affects your immune system. So it's not just talking about the COVID, it is how you build your immune system so that when we say the body can heal itself, the body can do heal itself. But you have to do the work, you know. The third precept is everything is energy. For those that remember their physics, they say energy cannot be destroyed or created, it just needs to be transformed. So when I say everything is energy, your thoughts are energy, and it affects the physical body. The physical body itself, we know solid matter is energy. So I'll give you an example. When you're nervous, don't you have your sweaty palms, your physical, it affects your physical. You get nervous, you palpitate with your heart. When when anxious, you have butterflies in your stomach. So what I'm just trying to give you an example that, the physical level is always affected by our thoughts, the way we feel. When, for those of you that still are single, you see your crush, you sweat out, you have this palpitation and all that. Same with you're angry. When you're angry, you get your headache, you get your heartbeat, and you get like, it affects you physically. So any emotions, any energy affects the physical level, and vice versa. In Eastern medicine too, we call, the indigenous people's medicine, for you to be healthy, energy should be able to come in and out of your body. We call it chi, with ease. That's why if there's a blockages, we call it dis-ease, because there's no balance. And in the Eastern medicine, they use acupuncture with the energy lines to get the blockages out. Some of us that practice qigong, and all these exercises, you really want to unblock all this, this stock up energy, so that energy flows in and out, so that it's a way to be healthy. When I also say that emotions are actually stored up in the body. Like, for example, if you're always worrying, that worry stores up in the stomach. If you're always angry, anger stores up in the liver. When you are always in fear, it starts, it stores up in the kidneys. That's why if you're anxiety, you have this fear, you always want to go to the bathroom. Now, when you have this sadness and bitterness, that is in the heart area, that's also in the lungs. I have to mention this because when you have COVID, and for those that are having COVID now, remember when they say that the virus enters first the nasal passages, either through, your nose, your mouth. That's why you have the masks on. Because when that enters the lungs, and if you have that energy that there's so much sadness and bitterness, you are prone to get that virus, or you're prone to get more lung problems than it is, because that affects the lungs. There's also, I mentioned, I want to talk about vibrations in relation to energy, because we will be using a method called tapping later on that is related to vibrations. So your organs, everything in your body is energy. It has vibrations. So all your organs have vibrations. Your emotions have vibrations too. Vibration is the way that organs communicate with each other in our body. Okay, so when you have high vibrations, that's like love and joy, and you uplift the spirit. It's very light. The lungs open up, Your heart just pumps up blood beautifully. Your mind is relaxed because these are vibrations that they like. It's very light, it's light and it's open. When you're very sad and bitter and envious, these are heavy vibrations and it has its toll. That means that your heart has to work harder in order to pump blood. Your head, your brain is like, oh my God, she's overthinking, so now she is also in distress. Guess what? All these low vibrations, they pull down your immune system. I have to relate that. That's why I talk about that, because it has something to do with your immune system. And when your immune system is that part of the system of your body that fights for you, that fights when you have inflammation, that fights when you have infection. You have to have a good immune system. One of the thing, it's like having an army. It's having your army that is ready to fight for your health, fight for your well-being. So you better take care of that army well. So another precept that I want to share with everybody is the connection of body and brain. So we know of the upper brain, which is encased in the skull, right? But we are not familiar, or most of us are not familiar with the lower brain, which is in the abdominal area where you have the diaphragm and the navel below. This is what we call the lower brain. Why do they call that the lower brain? 1/3 of the body blood supply goes to that area. It is also the area where you have almost all of your organs. Majority of your organs are there. You have your stomach, your intestines, your kidneys, your adrenaline gland that's on top of your kidneys. You have your ovaries there. You have your spleen, you have your liver, you have a gallbladder. Almost all the organs that control a lot of your body functions are there. So why do we also say that is the lower brain? Guess what? 50% of serotonin, which is actually the mood stabilizer, hormone, is produced in the gut. 50% of dopamine, which is the happy hormone, is also produced in the gut. So when we say that gut health is equal to good immunity, so that's important for me to mention to you guys, because I will be teaching you later on a few tapping along that area in a few breathing that will somehow boost or stimulate the immune system in that area. Another factor that is so important is the lifestyle, and I'll be talking about the immune system too. Sleep is so important. 10 to 12 hours of sleep is very important, because that's when the body rests. And I know that's so hard, right? The 10 to 12, yeah, I see you. It is so hard, but guess what? You need to have that if you can, because that's when your immune system gets to rest. Your body, your heart. Imagine if you don't have enough sleep, how can you liver detox? How can your heart says, give me a break? I've been working so hard. When you're young, you don't realize that later on you'll be candidate for heart disease. And as they say, when you sleep, you're not supposed to have the stress. Give it a break. It's time. It's like time off. It's recess. Give everybody a break to recuperate, to just relax and all that. Another is the exercise and regular movement. As they say, movement is medicine. So any movement, going up the stairs. This is a joke with my husband, because he does body weights, right? Boom, boom, and he's exercising always. And then I asked him to bring down the garbage. I said, you guys said, there's too much garbage. It's too heavy. What? You complain about the heavy garbage, and you can have your weights up? Sometimes they don't connect right away that, this is exercise. So for me, like, do some movement instead of using the elevator, use the stairs. Why am I also saying that? When you get your COVID, your lungs have to be in top form. your heart has to be in top form. And those little exercises, even walking, even carrying the grocery bags, even, getting off to, 2 subway stops away, that helps. 10 minutes every day is better than nothing. Okay? If you can't do the whole 9 yards of all the workout, dance for 10 minutes while commercial, watching TV, be practical. You know what I'm saying? So, while you're cooking, sway your hips. There's a lot of ways to get that movement going. Food we eat is also very important to build your immune system. Okay. Let's go to the immune system. I'm trying to, to kind of boom, boom, boom here. There are 4 things to consider when we talk about the immune system. And why am I saying this? Because, the immune system, as I said, is your army. That is your defense. So you need to build that up, because at any point, virus, no virus, or whatever virus comes, if your immune system is in top form, you may get the virus, but maybe not as bad. Recovery could be faster. It's a big deal. And also, you're not as sick as often. So, number 1 in the immune system that you need to consider is emotional health balance. I'm sorry to say it is part of it. If you worry too much, if you're antsy too much, emotional health balance, you call emotional stress, boom, immune system goes down. Okay? So emotional stress, all of us have emotional stress, one way or the other. But you need to let go. You need to find a way to release that and gain some balance, because you want your immune system to be really in top form. Number 2, internal microflora. When they say healthy gut is crucial to mental and emotional health. I mentioned to you, that's your second brain. Okay? That's where all the blood flows, your dopamine, serotonin comes in. You need to keep them healthy and happy, because this will be the one to really help you out. You have your spleen there. Your spleen, that is the organ where you have, it's like a camp where you have your white blood cells, like storage. So they're sleeping until they are called to, to be activated. Okay, so they say, well, I have my adrenaline glands. They produce the cortisol. That is the hormone that would say, when flight or fight, the cortisol is there, and it's good, because the cortisol is the hormone that fights inflammation. But guess what? That's okay in the beginning. But if you have to always use up all your cortisol because of inflammation, at one point, it's not going to be effective anymore. That inflammation is not going to go away. That inflammation is going to get worse. That's what happened with those that started with COVID as mild, just shortness of breath. They didn't nip it in the bud. They thought it was shortness of breath. They keep drinking all the cough syrup that prevents the phlegm from coming out. Big mistake, right? Instead of them coughing out, they want to suppress the cough. So all the phlegm comes in, boom, 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 settles in the throat. Oh, this is too tight for me. I need to go down, 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 gets to the lungs. Okay? So that's so bad. So even then, you have your lymphocytes. Those are the white blood cells. It's too much. You know what? This is too phlegm. I can't work with this anymore. And they get to be washed out, and your immune system goes low. You're a candidate for ventilator. The third part of the immune system is the health of your brain, your neuroendocrine system. A lot of your hormones is also in your brain. So immunity balance. You cannot overthink. If you use your brain too much, the upper brain and the lower brain, because they need to catch up with your stress, to catch up with your overwork. Well, you know what? At one point, they'll be so tired. By the time you need your army to fight for you, they're tired, fatigued. So by the time that you're sick, they don't have the energy anymore. Well, we've been fighting for you every day to keep up with you. So please, listen to this. Give your, when you're overworked, all of us have stress and all of us have some work to do, but you need to give yourself time to be able to have downtime, me time. And you need to put down, because that's one of the lessons I learned. That's why I think I had to stretch into 20 days. It was mild. I didn't go to the hospital. I took very care of myself. But I think if I did less stress and did more me time, maybe I wouldn't have to stretch out to 20 days. The last thing to build your immune system is food. There's certain foods that build your immune system, and there's certain foods that when you are congested, you don't want to eat. Some of those are dairies and sweets, because dairies and sweets, they build up phlegm. So you don't want that. So if you feel that you're having COVID, or you feel that you're about to get congestion, get away from dairies and sweets. That's the cream. Those are, what else is the dairies? The milk, the cheese, all the good stuff. And the sweets, I love sweets too, but I had to stop, because I have a feeling that's why I got the COVID, because I really had all these sweets before that. Two things about the virus, COVID-19 virus, that we kind of need to get. The virus loves dryness and dampness. I know it looks like it's contradictory, but they're not. The dryness is where you have the throat area. They love dry throat. That means that this person is not drinking enough water. Okay? This person is always in a rush, talk, without drinking water. That reminds me, I have to drink water. Okay, so hydration, you keep that dry. Not good. The virus loves that. Dampness, meaning your nasal passages are always like clogged with phlegm, or, no, they don't like that dampness, because that dampness is equal to coldness. So I want you guys to remember that characteristic of the virus, because the methods I use is to kind of prevent that, to kind of overthrow the dryness and to prevent the dampness. Okay, so what time do we have? I just want to check. 20 minutes?
Yeah, 20 minutes until the first morning.
Okay. So now what did I do? Let's start with so the precepts, we agreed, these are the ones that it's like a framework of the way you should be thinking, compared to, Western medicine. Western medicine says you take the drugs, you drink it according to how many times a day, and you'll be fine, right? We're saying that if we say that health is holistic, it is all the body, mind, and spirit and relationship. You need to take care of your exercise, your emotional health, and you have to eat well, and you have to build your immune system. So what did I do first? First is I categorize it in certain levels. So cleansing, I did when I realized that I was having COVID. Okay, I had fever, I had itchy throat, I was having congestion. I already started doing my gurgling with warm salt water. Now, why salt water? Salt is very disinfectant. And we have this practice way back in the Philippines, if you remember, for those Filipinos, when you have itchy throat, you gargle with warm salt water, because it kind of, it's a disinfectant. Salt water is disinfecting. So you gurgle with that, because remember what I said, you want that virus not to go to your lungs. Just nip it in the bud with the nasal and the throat. So you might as well keep those channels open and clean. Second is I do Sinus Saline cleanse. If you have that, they use they have now some user friendly. They use before the neti pot, but I have one that's more user friendly, and it's just sodium chloride and bicarbonate, like baking soda. So I said, you know what, if you are not able to get those packets for sinus cleansing, get some baking soda and salt. Again, have it, you always have salt, have some baking soda. You know, baking soda is what we use sometimes to clean the refrigerator and clean stuff. You can use baking soda for toothpaste. There's a lot of uses. These are very natural ways that, you know, to keep within the budget and yet healthy. So I use baking soda with my sinus cleansing. Apple cider vinegar. For those of you guys that don't know apple cider vinegar, not pure, because that you know, that erodes the enamel of the teeth. Combine it with warm water. You know, the cover of the apple cider vinegar, just maybe 2 cupful of that with half a cup of warm water. You drink it every morning. That cleanses your system. It's antimicrobial, controls cholesterol, diabetes, you know, controls uric acid for the gout. It's like, that's why the apple cider vinegar is like if you have it, it's everything. Okay, I hear somebody making a lot of noise. Okay, now, so those are the ones that I use for cleansing. Okay, gurgling, because I want those channels clean. If there's a virus, if right now they say, well, it's not COVID-19, it's not a virus. They say it's bacteria. Well, whatever it is, I'm not going to debate that now. You know, just get that cleansing. 2 is hydrate. Okay, number 2 is hydration. I mentioned about the virus liking dry throat and dampness. Why do you want to hydrate? Hydrate is loosening the phlegm. It's also moistening the channels of the throat and the lungs, which you would need. You can use coconut water or Gatorade, especially if you have fever. You need to hydrate because the heat gets all the, you know, we're 75%, you know, 3/4 water in our body. When you have fever gets, you know, that water in your body evaporates. You need to replenish it. And some of those that had COVID said that they started having diarrhea. The more you have to hydrate. So I suggested, you know, if you can get coconut water or Gatorade. Again, what if you can't get, during that time when I had COVID, somebody gave me coconut water. It was done in 2 days. I didn't like Gatorade. My stomach seemed not to like it. What could be a replacement of a hydration drink? A natural hydration drink is sugar and salt and water. Mix it up. That's a natural hydration drink. So if you can't buy the coconut water, if you can't buy the Gatorade, sugar, salt, and water. Okay. Now, you know, lemon is also, they say, well, lemon is acidic. Lemon, when you ingest lemon, it becomes alkaline in your stomach. And lemon also has a vitamin C. It also breaks down fat. It breaks down, you know, mucus. So if you have lemon, you know, you put lemon in your water. It's very good to do it as a practice every day. I have my lemon water every day, you know, just a practice of mine. During COVID too, and that was also because it was winter, it was cold. We talk about, you know, teas, actually, you know, when we talk about herbal teas, herbal trees are, herbs come from plants. We have used plants forever as medicines, and you guys know this. The indigenous peoples, they have medicine plants. I have because I'm a community nurse, most of my Latinos or you know, Latino patients, they have oregano in their kitchen. They have basil in their kitchen. So all this, the oregano, the basil, those, and ginger. So if you can't buy the medicinal teas, be sure to have ginger and garlic. You'll be fine with that. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more sophisticated and add more other stuff, then you can have the Moringa, which is malunggay. In the Philippines, Moringa and malunggay, they use it for nursing mothers. Moringa is now considered one of the superfood that has a very high protein content. Now, protein is very good to build cells in your body. So get that malunggay leaves or moringa tea. Okay. I mentioned about ginger. Now, the ginger tea, sometimes you can add turmeric, lemon, honey. Okay. Be sure the honey is, you source your honey. Please don't buy those cheap honeys because that could just be sugar. Honey in itself is medicinal. That's why you can add it to tea. But if your honey, I said, is there sugar because you bought it in Costco and it's cheap, then that's not honey. Be sure you buy very good honey. That way, it's worth it. It may be a little bit more expensive, but know where your honey source. Some of also the teas that I used during then, I love teas. I don't drink so much coffee. So when I got sick with COVID, I opened up all my teas and I spread it all out and take a look of which to me would be more beneficial. And I looked it up. Okay, so I have chamomile, I have ginger, I have raw boys, I have reishi. Mullein, this, you can buy this tea, Mullien. I have it in tincture, but this is very good for respiratory. Not only if you're asthmatic, if you have COPD, if you have easily get allergy, this is very good. So, you can buy this, as dried as mullein, or you can also buy it as tincture. I had hibiscus in more African countries. They have used hibiscus. It's a little bit tart, but it's one of those very good antioxidant that's also very good for cough. What else did I use? Thyme. Thyme and sage are very good too. As I already mentioned, oh yes, lemongrass. If you go to the Asian supermarkets, you have those lemongrass that they use for Thai food and Chinese food. Lemongrass is one of the plants that is so good for the respiratory system and also so good for the immune system. So if you go to the Asian supermarket, just get lemongrass and include it in your tea, in your food. It goes well with coconut milk and all that. But just to let you know, lemongrass is a very good source for tea. Okay, so that's what I use to hydrate. Oh, if you can't sleep well, then if you have a few, chamomile is good. In the Latino community, they call it manzanilla, right? It's very good also for cleansing. A friend of mine just gave me guava leaves. It's also very good to drink because it's also antimicrobial. It's also very good to clean the skin. So these things, those plants, we have known that since we have used that at home. We have used that in so many purposes. But if you have to have some things that is a staple in your kitchen, have the ginger, have the garlic, because those really are antimicrobial, antiseptic, antiviral, and antioxidant. So if you have all those, some ingredients, not only for cooking, you can make it into your teas, then more or less you're ready for anything that happens. You know what I'm saying? We don't have calamansi, we have lemon. Always have lemon because you can squeeze it out a little bit. Okay, next thing I did, which is, I think, one of the most important thing, if there's anything, guys, that you should remember, it's steam inhalation. Steam inhalation, I found out later on, they use a sophisticated term for it, hydrothermal therapy. Oh, wow. I said, ooh, what is that? Oh, it's like the sauna. You have to you buy this steam gadget with the spout, and then you inhale to open up the channels of your lungs, and open up all the pores. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. In our, growing up, we call that pauso. You just have a pot, boil water until it forms a steam. We put Vicks if you don't have any else. If you have the oregano, yes, put the oregano. If you have the sage, put the sage. If nothing else, do you have salt? Yes, put the salt. And then the steam, 1.5 feet, you have a towel and cover. Like put a cave, like a sweat lodge. It is the same as the sweat lodge. It is the same concept in Amsterdam and Finland using sauna during COVID. In Vietnam, they did that too, okay? Now in the provinces, okay, we had the steam, but we had everybody steaming. What do? Right? I don't know if you guys know this, they did that with the Native Americans. They did that in the barrios that has nipa huts. They have a fire under the house, because they have slits of bamboo. They build a fire, they have a pot of warm water, and they put the herbs there. And the steam would go inside, would go up in between the floor, the cracks in the floor and the bamboo. The whole house is steaming, and they close the windows because it's like a sweat lodge. And everybody, not just the one that's sick, everybody gets steam. And it's like, wow, if you had fever, it opens your pores. It's really so nice. Right now, I would, if you know of some first health responders that are still taking care of COVID, they should have steam inhalation when they get home. That way, all this just goes out and gets, boom, you kind of kill them out because of the steam. Remember, the virus don't like dryness and dampness. The steam provides that, that moistening thing, and it also provides, killing the dampness or coldness by providing warmth. What else with the steam? Okay. During winter, we use humidifier to put moisture in the air. So I said, I know now it's not, we only use it during the cold season, but I would suggest an oil diffuser, aromatherapy. You buy that oil diffuser, not burn the oil, but buy that oil diffuser where you use water and a few drops of oils. Now, what oils to use? If I have 5 oils that, to me, if you want to shortcut everything else, because I have a long line of oil later on, if I have time. Do I have time? Not so much. So, you have the eucalyptus, the lavender, the geranium, tea tree, you're fine. And oregano. So if you have those, tea tree, lavender, geranium, what else did I say? Eucalyptus, oregano, you're fine. If you want to cut it out some more and you can't afford those 5, have some tea tree and lavender. I think you're good. Geranium, though, that's the spirit. Remember when I was telling you about the vibration, about having high vibration, high spirit? That geranium does that. Lavender is calming because, as I said, it's a stressful world. So you don't want the lavender. Tea tree is everything. Tea tree is for antiseptic, for the gums, for the, for the gurgling, for, putting in wounds. So I think you have to have tea tree. Eucalyptus is very good for the lungs. So, and oregano. So I'm giving you a shortcut of those 5. So diffuser. Supplements. Okay. You guys know about this already, right? Everybody was ODing with vitamin C. And some said, well, you can't have so much vitamin C. Well, in a way, yeah, because then you buy so much vitamin C, you're going to pee it out. But anyway, if you want to get but the thing with the supplements is the supplements should not replace nutritious food. That's what I really want to say. But you have your vitamin C, the zinc. You don't have to OD with zinc. You only need a small amount. I think 20 milligrams is max, okay? The echinacea, the vitamin D, the elderberry, that's very good. Vitamin D you need because you know what? There's this thing about calcium. Calcium and vitamin D, they're like husband and wife. You know, calcium is enhanced because of the vitamin D. And the vitamin D, well, during winter, it's good if you have sunshine. You have vitamin D in the body. Now, the sunshine activates the vitamin D, but if you can't get sunshine, then you have the calcium. Calcium, magnesium, too, they go work hand in hand. And they're very good because they help with the muscles and the flow and the circulation and the movement of the cells in and out, which you will need that movement to get that virus kicked out, okay? Some also of the supplements, please get, I know this is, I swear by this, it's Manuka Honey. It's from New Zealand and Australia. It's expensive. You don't have to put it in all your tea. No, you only use it when it's necessary, meaning when you're having congestion or like itchy throat, then you get 1 teaspoonful. This is, you know, the Manuka tree in New Zealand and Australia is one of those sacred trees that they take the bark, the sap, the flowers, everything else to them is medicinal. So it is expensive only because it comes very far, but you won't have to use it every day, but it's good to have a resource. I didn't have cough syrup. I just used my ginger and ginger turmeric tea, and I use this. Before I sleep, I get a teaspoonful. In the morning, I get. So I swear by this. I used to bring this in the office, and my office mates used to ask from me, you know, Sockie, can I have your Manuka every time they have itchy throat or congestion? And then I said, you know what? I better bring it home. You guys buy your own. I'm glad I bought it home because, as I said, I had to use it. So Manuka, your probiotics. I mentioned about gut, gut health. Please get probiotics. Of course, I said, well, you that tastes so good because then it's too much sugar. Get the Greek yogurt that is really not so good tasting, but actually those are the ones that has a lot of probiotic. Have all the enzymes that you need, okay? You have your regular vitamins. Oh yes, one plant. If you have to have one plant in your kitchen, please buy an aloe plant. The aloe is like, ooh, for everything, right? For wounds, for hair, for skin. Guess what? It also lines your stomach. The COVID doesn't like aloe because it can't stick to the throat because it's slimy and it covers the throat. The COVID doesn't like that. So if you have to have aloe, get an aloe drink. Again, don't get the aloe drink from the supermarket that has so much, so much of the carbonated drink, and 0.5% is the aloe. Buy raw aloe, buy a good brand of aloe, and better yet, buy the plant. You don't have to buy it, and you just scrape out the gel, mix it in juice or water, and boom, you have an aloe drink. And it's one of the best drinks, either very healthy, and you use it every day. Okay, so we covered that. Yes.
Sockie, it's 7:01.
Okay, so what else do we have? Oh, okay. This, I'll cut on everything, but I want to tell you guys this about the tapping, okay? Maybe we'll end after the tapping. Okay, before the tapping, there's visualization and meditation. I'm just saying it, and so that you guys know, look for it, visualization, meditation, affirmation. I used all those. I visualize, every time I drink something healthy, that healthy drink is punching out all the COVID virus and killing it, like burning it. I was visualizing it, and I guess it helped because it made me well. Okay, let's go to the tapping. So I mentioned about the tapping about the lower gut. I'll put this below. Okay, this is your gut, right? This is your gut. So I said this is your second, you know, your lower brain. This is where your immune system is centered. So there is a tapping, what we call in the body brain. You want to stimulate the immune system to be active, to be alive. So close fist, and you go below your navel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you go to at least 100. So that's one. That's to stimulate the immune system. You got it, L'Oreal? Below the navel, like this. You think I don't see you guys? Okay, that's one tapping. Another tapping is when you do the tapping, right? Because I'll do two things before I cut. Tapping and breathing, because those two very important things. When you do your Pledge of Allegiance or cross your whole arm, right? Feel your collarbone. Okay, feel your collarbone. When you feel your collarbone, go below your collarbone and press the area till you feel it sore. When you feel that area that it's sore, like, you know, it's kind of, okay. That is an acupuncture point we call lung 1. You can tap it or massage it. It's sore, but guess what? That's for the lungs. It opens up the lungs. So while you're watching TV, and I was doing that and I was having COVID, you know, then I was doing it. Okay, I was tapping it. That's very good for the lungs. So that's 2. That's for the lungs. Now for general well-being, I mentioned to you guys, that we are energy, we are vibration. You need to talk to your organs, right? So I tap them. So from the head, balance, you know, I tap balance of right and left brain. Go all over till the back, you know, till here. This is where your lymph node is, massage it. And then tap your shoulders, your arm. Under your armpit, remember your armpit? It's where you have lymph nodes there. So you need to tap it and talk, hey guys, you need to wake up, fight for me guys, okay? You can, and then do it with the other hand. Hello, you know, you guys to wake up, fight for me. And then remember what I was saying about the heart area where you have the lungs? If you have bitterness and anger, you need to tap that. Hey, you need to let go of that anger. You need to go of that bitterness. So tap it with you know, you can do this and you can tap that, okay? So then you tap your spleen area. You know, hey, come on, white blood cells. I need you to wake up. Tap your stomach, tap your liver. You know, tap everything here. Tap your hips. Tap at the back, your kidneys. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna teach you, where's my props? Okay. The back of your lungs, it's so hard, right, to reach. So I devised, if you have somebody that can do percussion on your back, you know, this thing, you form a scoop, and then you tap you have somebody tap your back like that. That's very good. No, this has to be, you form a scoop here and you have somebody tap your back. Yeah, this is close, this is close. Scoop, yes. So you tap like that. Now, if you don't have anybody to do it for you and you're by yourself, right? I have this. I have my sandok, as you said, and I have that tapping on my lungs. See? So I discovered a prop so that I can do some tapping on my lungs and, hey lungs, You know, don't get infected, be strong, open up, let the oxygen come in. Okay. And I do that to my legs too, okay, till going down. So, oh my God, look at she. She has this big. That's too big. You will have your whole back. That can be two. You need only one tap. One tap. Okay, breathing. That's the tapping. Okay, I shortcut the tapping. The breathing. You need to do some breathing exercises. I will just teach you 3 breathing exercises that can help. Okay. One is the breathing exercises has to combine 2 things: the lungs and the throat. Remember, I mentioned to you about the throat that has to be dry, and that doesn't have to be dry. But throat also is the energy center of communication. The way you strengthen your throat is 2 ways. Find ways to be creative and speak up. You strengthen your throat energy center that way. So when I do my breathing, I also verbalize. So I start with my breathing with my lower, with my lower abdomen here, where I'm telling you where you have the lower brain. Whew, whew. Sometimes I combine it with my tapping, but just if you notice my tummy. Whoa, 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 whoa. So the lower tummy or even up. Whoa, 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 whoa. You have to verbalize. You have to bring it all up. When I was so angry that I was not getting well, I was screaming in the shower. And guess what? Sometimes the screaming goes down. And I noticed that when I was having shortness breath because I was having anxiety because I wasn't getting well, and my fever would go up. When I was calmer and I was breathing more slowly, okay. See, it's not just breathing. You have to say something. These are accessory muscles for breathing. So you need to kind of also like loosen them up a little bit, When my fever was low, I would thank them. Thank you. This was so nice. And when it was up, I need you to get down. So that's breathing. How many minutes? Look at me. Oh yeah. Okay. Important. I know we're running off time again. If you have fever, okay, I drank my Tylenol. But I didn't, when my fever was high, I was taking my Tylenol. But I know that my Tylenol is very toxic on the liver. So while I was drinking my Tylenol, I was getting my probiotics for my liver support. But if I did have low fever, you know what I do? I didn't get my Tylenol. I did 3 things. One is I was always hydrating. Number 2, which is so important, get cold and warm showers. They didn't teach that in medical school. But I learned that from my dad, who was a doctor, who went to China and studied acupuncture. So I learned a lot. And we were also doing that in the bundles. When we didn't have Tylenol, when we didn't have anything. You had fever, counteract the heat, have a cold shower. Okay? And the areas where water was hard, we would have sponge baths because there was not a lot of water then. But cold and warm water showers, it opens up your pores, it builds your immune system. It is a very simple, ineffective but inexpensive way of really dealing with fever, with stress. When you're angry, just get a shower. When you're stressed up, just shower yourself. Water is very healing. And you can do your breathing exercises there. You can do your tapping there. You know, multitask. We women are very good at that, you know. Multitask. I do my affirmations there. I do my cleansing. I do my Reiki, all while I'm having a shower. But it helps. It helps with the fever. Okay. If you didn't have, these are the points. Okay, if this is my hand at the side of your finger, press it. All the fingers, maybe as long as you can. This is very good at lowering fever. Okay. Also very good at lowering fever. Drink some basil, ginger. Those are very good lowering fever. I think I wrote down those. I'm looking for my cheat sheet. So here, side of the nail, these are very good for fever. Okay. Also, if you put your hand cup over your shoulder, do you feel the shoulder blade? Okay, by the blade itself, by the groove of the blade here. You massage that, or you can even the whole muscle here, but that point is also very good for fever. So if your fever is not so high, the only reason why I think you should also have Tylenol, because what happens with, not all Western medicine is bad. Tylenol, if you have so high fever, you want your fever down right away. That's what Tylenol does. But when your fever is down and you just want to maintain, then do the other stuff. And if you have low-grade fever, then just do this. You know, you want to take care of your liver. So, you know, you have Tylenol. If you, as of now, the virus is viral. It's not bacteria. So you don't need antibiotics. You need antibiotics if you have other sickness that came with the COVID. Like you had pneumonia. Okay, you had water in the lungs, you had pneumonia, you have infection of the bronchioles. You will need antibiotic. But see, the thing with the natural medicine, it's slow. Why? It's training your body to heal itself. That's why you don't wait for you to get sick to practice all this, because you want to train your body. And then you'll tell, well, it didn't work. Well, if you're expecting it to work in 1 or 2 days, it won't. Because your body is still in shock, you know. So if your body is in high sickness, do what you need to do. I took Tylenol first thing, but I practiced all this. But I was ready. I didn't want to go to the hospital. I had my pulse oximeter, okay? If I went below 93, in fact 90, I would go to the hospital. Be practical. But what I did, when I want to make sure I always had 93. If I went below 93, oh my God, I had to do my breathing. I was doing my breathing, and then I will check. Okay, I'm good. I'm 93 again. I would check every hour. I would do my breathing. I would walk. You see, the virus wants you to just lay down, rest. Well, you know what? When my fever was low, I would drink my chamomile tea and my lavender, because you need rest. But when I'm fine, I would do my exercises. You just need to know when to balance things, you know? But do it. Don't, all of what I'm saying is this. It's to build your immune system, is to build your whole body, to be prepared for this supposedly comeback of COVID or whatever virus comes in. Okay, I'm good, right? That's a rush. Okay,
You're
so
good,
anyway,
yeah. It's
yeah,
7:17.
questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna unmute folks and
Yeah, just maybe raise your hands or something. I don't know who wants to.
I'm gonna unmute folks, and then if people want to ask questions, they can. But let's do it one at a time, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, by the way, I want to mention this. Onion. You know, onion, I've heard this with some African American families. They cut the onion if you have fever and put it at the sole of your feet and put socks. You know why it's good? Because the sole of your feet, remember, you have all the points here. You have your whole body at the sole of your feet. That's a reflexology map. The onion is antimicrobial. It sucks up.
Wait, sorry, Sockie. I muted you accidentally. See?
That's fine. I'm on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, you were saying it sucks up what?
It sucks up the microbes. It's antimicrobial, onions.
Uh-huh.
It's also very antifungal. So garlic is also antifungal. It's really very good. So you have to have the onion, the garlic, the ginger, lemon staple in your kitchen.
Okay.
Whether, it's just good.
Beautiful. Okay,
Those
so
are medicines in itself.
I have a question, and I don't know. I think other people can unmute themselves, actually, because I guess we didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question, though, really quick, because you brought up about sleep. And it's really a weird thing with me, and I'm so glad to hear you say about the exercise, because the only thing that keeps me alive is I do, bike ride every day. But then I notice if I don't get sleep, I do the bike ride, and then it messes me up. So it's almost like I'm constantly figuring out, you know what I mean, energy level. And I really feel like I'm almost 100, but then I went down in energy today because I didn't get enough sleep last night. And so then I'm like, anyway, I'm just wondering, like, just laying in bed, even if you can't sleep, is that better than trying to, you know what I mean, than just sitting
Well,
there?
if you're laying in bed and thinking, it's the same.
Right,
You
exactly.
lay in bed and do some breathing and happy thoughts and whatever, then you relax. The point is relaxation, not to overthink. Give yourself, it's resting. You may not be sleeping, but you're resting. Then maybe do some, good music, drink some tea. Somebody told me the other day, what about green tea? If you are very sensitive to caffeine, okay, green tea is only effective because of the caffeine in it. Then don't drink the green tea after lunch. Drink it in the morning.
Right.
After maybe 11 o'clock, no more green tea. Or not, if you are sensitive to caffeine, you won't be able to sleep.
Right.
And you didn't realize that was the green tea.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else?
Same with you. I mean, do your biking. Don't do it in the afternoon because, you'll be all hype.
Oh. And do you think it's okay to try to go the whole 3 miles, or should I do less?
Do it in the morning.
Okay.
So that it's like your body. It's like your body. Don't confuse your body. At the end, our body has a cycle. Sometimes it goes with the sun and the moon and all that, right? Yeah. So towards the end of the day, you should be kind of, your energy should be getting to the more relaxed stage. I know this is ideal because I know some of us are workaholic. We work at night, but find a way that works for you. Okay. You have to find a way to downtime. So don't do your exercises when you know that you have to downtime.
Right.
But if just supposing my son, okay, he's a chef. He comes up before when there was a restaurant, right? He works till 12, 2 o'clock. He wakes up at 10. He starts work at, what I'm saying? So his downtime could be his downtime could be early morning. So make it work for you. Know where your cycle is. Don't, oh my God, it should be this, the liver, the kidney has to rest between, 12 to 3. Yeah, that's ideal. But you know what? We live in a world where we have different time zones, where we have different work time schedules. So find a way that works for you when you can relax. Have a downtime. Even if, after just walk for 30 minutes if we're going home, or just stay in a bench for 15 minutes. Just have downtime.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Questions?
I have, this is Daniela. Hi, thank you so much for including me. This is really insightful. I have actually comments and questions. For the vitamin, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, for the vitamin C, the lemon peel, I understand, actually, this is what I've been doing, actually eating the lemon peel itself has more vitamin C than the actual juice. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, because the oil of the lemon, the essential oil of the lemon
Yeah,
is in the skin.
right. So I've
Right.
been eating half a lemon peel every day, pretty
Now
much.
be sure your lemon is organic, or not you're getting more of the pesticides as well. Or wash
Right.
it with baking soda
I
first.
wash it. I wash them. Yeah, yeah. And then the other
Yeah,
point I was going to make
yeah.
about the fever, I understand if you put like cold ice pack under your armpits, that also.
Under your armpits, under your head, because these are the centers of heat.
Yeah.
It's also good. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. Just
You
one.
remember fever in itself? I have to psych myself with that too. Fever in itself is not bad. Fever is a way of your body communicating to you that it's fighting for you. So you should welcome fever, and it is during fever that inflammation is being boom targeted by
Right.
all your macrophages and all your lymphocytes. What is bad is prolonged fever.
Right.
That means that your body is getting wary, and it's like, oh, we're getting confused now. So prolonged fever is not good, but fever in itself is telling your body is fighting.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It doesn't mean that, like if you have fever 24 hours, then it's tired also for those that are fighting for you.
Wow.
So you want fever. Fever is a sign that your body is fighting, but it doesn't mean that you want to encourage it,
Thank you, Danielle. Anyone else?
Yeah, hey Saki, thank you so much for saying all the information and the powerful home remedies. My question is, first of all, because I'm joining this just a question because maybe I missed it. So you took a test and tested positive for the COVID-19. That's one. And how reliable you think those tests are? And another thing is, since you're saying this is your 20th day of COVID and you're feeling better, have you have contact with your family members now? And when do you feel ready that you can have contact with your family members without, passing, whatever you had? Or and when you go back to work, I don't know what you do professionally, but is there any things that you now do protecting yourself a little? So do you have an idea how you got the COVID-19?
Well, I'm a community nurse. So I could have gotten the COVID anywhere in the 5 boroughs because I was everywhere, okay? But even when I had the COVID, they didn't want to test me. And I said, I'm a nurse. I think I had the COVID because I had the symptoms. He said, well, you're mild. During that time, there was not enough testing. We'll test you when you are critical. I said, well, what is critical? When you can't breathe. Well, then I have to go to the hospital. Exactly. They'll test you when you get to the hospital. So you know what? I considered myself positive. They didn't want to test me, but I had all the symptoms. So I just took care of myself. I knew I was positive, so I got well. Right now, the CDC rule is this. If you think you're positive, right, you quarantine for yourself for 2 weeks. With no symptoms, another 1 week with no symptoms. That means you're also not getting any medicine. 1 week. And then wait for 3 days. Again, then you can go back to work.
So that's like 21 days, right?
But if you feel, right, yeah, sort of. But now they shorten it. It's not anymore 2 weeks. If you have symptoms, once the symptoms is gone, wait for 1 week. Because you might just have 5 days sick, and then you're not sick anymore. You're not getting the Tylenol. You're just getting maybe a small cough and everything. Then wait for 1 week. And then see after 3 days. So that's less. It depends on the individual. But now, you know what I do now? I still continue my breathing, my tapping every day, 10 minutes. I make sure look, I have my lemon water. I want to start doing my inhalation. It's just so warm now, but I do my my old diffuser. I changed, by the way, the oils, because now I'm not anymore, my immune system, I'm not stimulating, I'm maintaining it. So I use lavender and bergamot and pine and all that. But, you know, I want to maintain, because as I said, I don't used to exercise, but now I realize that I need to do my breathing regularly and my tapping, because I want to build that immune system that I've been doing.
Okay. Any more, Mood? You good? Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, it's just not clear though. So, what would you recommend for someone that tested positive? Like they went and got the test and tested
The
positive.
same.
The same
The
thing,
same.
just the 15, 20 days,
Yeah.
and then it's no longer, they no longer.
Because you know why? A lot of people are positive and are asymptomatic. That's why that's why there's a rule now, wear the mask, because you don't know if the person beside you is positive. They just don't have the symptoms.
Yeah.
Now consider everybody positive. Just wear your mask and be careful. Wash your hands, wear your mask. Now, if you know you're positive, the more you have to take care. Don't, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sockie.
Yeah.
Anyone else? We have about
1 minute.
1 minute.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so can I close with the
Yeah.
1 minute?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sockie. Once again, wonderful. So in the practice, in the meditation practice that how I was taught, is that when we receive powerful teachings, there's a sense of dedicating what we have learned back out to all people, to the rest of the world, so that you don't centralize and don't hold the teaching for just yourself. We want the teachings to go far and wide. So if we can just quietly dedicate this wonderful teaching from Sockie out to others. Think of others. Maybe you may know some people with COVID beyond, this small group that's here tonight, or whatever, whomever you know in your community. Think of them and have the intention to share the teachings far and wide. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Pearl.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Yeah, I just want to let people know. I just want to let people know if they want to get a copy of the recording, you can email poormag@gmail or go to Poor News Network channel on YouTube after tomorrow. And thank you, Sockie. You're amazing, and everyone for tuning
Thank you,
in.
Lisa. Thank you, Pearl,
Thank
for
you.
inviting me.
I
Be
have my son.
well.
I got my son.
You got it. You
Thank
got your
you.
battle.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sockie.
Thank you.
that's why L'Oreal has too big a
Thank you
sandbox.
so
Too
much
big.
for
L'Oreal,
magazine.
too big.
Thank you. Thank you,
We're
dear.
closing? I don't know.
Do it again. Do it again.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. See you soon.
Aww.
Bye.
Bye, Israel.
Thank you, Leroy.
Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat.
Madas.
Salamat po.
I know, I have to stop fast.
In the backyard. There she. There's Tita Chris. Oh,
Nobody wants to leave.
Ah.
Hi.
okay.
So this is just 90 minutes. We're still here.
3. All right. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
See you guys.